All right. What is up, everybody? Okay, I probably need to switch the screens, right?
Yep,
Um,
that's
what's
accurate.
up, everybody? Hey, if I look at Sterling, for anybody who's on right now, if I look at Sterling and I'm looking the wrong direction, let me know and I'll flip them. Sometimes it gets a little
Off.
little tough to look at the screen,
I
but
think it is though, because if I look at you, I'm looking right. So
yeah, we'll know when someone tells us in the chat that that I'm looking the wrong direction. So if I look towards Sterling and I'm looking the wrong direction, we'll switch it. So what's up, man? So we haven't done a stream since I got back from the superhero con in San Antonio, and which was coming off the news that San Diego Comic Con was due to the strike that's going on wasn't going to have any actors or showing any of the content as far as movies and shows at San Diego Comic Con. That San Antonio event ended up being a really good event to go to. I kind of got lucky there, and
they had some pretty big celebrities.
they did. And I don't know if everybody people have had a chance to see, but hey, Matt Tween, real quick, when I look at Sterling, am I looking the opposite way or I'm looking towards Sterling? So I might need to
I
switch.
think you need to switch it.
If I need to switch it, then I'll switch it because I think the last time I did this,
I'm looking at you right
yeah,
now.
yeah.
It's opposite.
So just let me know, Matt Tween, if when I look at him, I'm looking the opposite direction. Okay, so I'm gonna switch it. So how about now? We're probably good now. What's up, OG? Daisy Blossom, is it the correct way now when I look at him? So
Should be.
yeah, hopefully, yeah, maybe because it's reversed, but good now, good, good. So let me talk just a little bit about the superhero con, and we may give away a few things tonight. And I always like to give away some stuff. So at the con, they had these VIP passes, and I got several of them. So I got Bo Katan from The Mandalorian, Katie Sackhoff. So pretty cool lanyard. What's up, Special Ray? I got Andrew Garfield from Spider Man. We got Kit Harrington. So this being a Hand of the King stream, maybe I'll give away one of these tonight if somebody wants a lanyard, a laminated lanyard that was from the superhero con. Cool event. And then I have another Kit Harrington, and then I have my favorite, Daenerys Targaryen. And so anyway, it was a great event, and we got a chance to meet Emilia Clarke, Kit Harrington. Obviously, their Q&A panel. We did a couple of videos on the Q&A panel with Kit Harrington and Emilia Clarke. It was about 30 minutes long, so they were not there very long, maybe 40 minutes, and they were pre-arranged questions. So they said they took questions from the audience, but they were pre-canned questions that the host read, so they didn't have anybody in the audience stand up and ask a question, and that's probably because they wanted to control what was asked. But they just talked about a little bit about Secret Invasion being in the Marvel Cinematic Universe for Amelia. She's in Secret Invasion. I don't know if you guys are watching Secret Invasion, but I think she's I think she's okay in it. I think she's miscast. I'm struggling with that show. It's just it seems like every time I try to watch an episode. Have you seen Secret Invasion yet? I fall asleep. I don't know about you guys. If you guys have tried to watch Secret Invasion, they talked about it like it's a little bit like Andor, right? It's just this well written show that kind of is intelligently done, and it's just I don't see it. Not compared to like Andor. It's not horrible. It's just I don't know, building a show around the Skrulls and Nick Fury. I don't know, but she's okay in it, just a little miscast. But So she talked about being in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and stepping into that. And then Kit mentioned briefly about the Black Knight from the Eternals, and he was very clear that he wanted to explore that character more, but he didn't know when that was going to happen. So it sounds like they haven't given him yet a yeah, Matt Twain's Best to Bench Secret Invasion too slow. We could yeah, it's like 40 minutes long, and there's not a lot happening. So it's just you're sitting there watching 20 minutes of dialogue that they think is witty, but it's not really. And yeah,
So the you mentioned the Black Knight. He
yeah, the
was
Black Knight. Yeah,
so they had an Easter egg at the end of the Eternals, which I believe it was
yeah,
involving Blade.
and, yeah. He said
And
that Black Knight will not be in Blade.
well, yeah, and well, that movie's been shelved, and they
Okay, so they're
destroyed the script and they're starting
so
over. So
so is Marshala not going to be in it? Blade?
I think he's still announced for it, but I think they had to get a new director and writer.
So does
And
anybody know if they?
he saw the script and threw it out, so that movie's in limbo. And then the Eternals flopped. So I mean, there's not really much they can do with that. So it's kind of a weird situation where everything that because the Marvel movies always kind of link, some of them link together,
right.
not like they used to, but there's certain ones that link with each other, and everything that was linked with his project is flopped. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's Kit did talk about what's up, Star Wars Marvel purist. Um, he did talk about the Black Knight is not going to be in Blade. Whatever is going to happen with Blade, he said that he did say that. Um, but and then Kit talked about Game of Thrones, and Emilia said, "Can you imagine anything being bigger than Battle of the Bastards?" And he said, he was not aware at the time, but in hindsight, he's still awestruck about how big some of those moments and scenes were in filming of the series of Game of Thrones. And they spent a little bit of time on season 6 when he talked about that. So obviously he has a fondness for his role as Jon Snow in season 6. You could tell that when he was talking. So I filmed it as best I could. I wasn't sure going into that event about what type of video I could bring in. So I had my phone. So for those of you that watch the videos, hopefully it's good enough to watch. I tried to capture the layout of the con. There was a lot there. It was a ton of stuff. For those that were in Nashville for ICCC, I'm not kidding when I say this. It was probably 8 to 10 times larger.
That doesn't surprise me though.
Just huge con in San
ICC is
Antonio.
more of like a Star Wars collectible con.
Yeah, this
And,
was a Comic Con. They had a building in the next to the Coliseum, an old Coliseum right next to where the San Antonio Spurs play. They had nothing but vehicles in it. So I videoed the vehicles. They had the Batmobiles and Optimus Prime, and then different vehicles from movies. One really cool one was Speed Racer. They had the Speed Racer car in there, but so they had a building there, and then in the Coliseum, that was next to it, they had Kit Harington, Emilia Clarke. It seats about maybe 3,000 people, and they put about maybe 1,000 in there.
you
For
put some of the videos on the YouTube channel.
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
I thought
I
they were
put
on there.
Yeah, I put day 1 and day 2, and most of what you saw on there of the Q&A with Kit and Amelia, I posted, I recorded. I was disappointed that they didn't answer anything about what was next. They didn't get one question from the panel at the Q&A about Amelia, Kit, what do you think about House of the Dragon? I know they've answered it in other places, but they didn't get to talk about Patty Considine and Matt Smith, who Amelia's friends with, and with their thoughts on House of the Dragon. And they didn't talk about obviously the Jon Snow series. They didn't talk about I would want to ask them, how much of the books have you read? Or do you know about Aegon the Conqueror? Do you think that's going to be good if they greenlight? Do you think Night of the Seven Kingdoms? Just stuff like that. They didn't ask them anything about that, but the algorithm didn't hit it for me. So yeah, the videos. I do have the videos, Special Ray. I have day 1 and day 2. So if you just go under my videos link, they're on there. So they're, the algorithm didn't hit it for you. I don't know. I can't figure out YouTube. It's we're we're all over the place with our streams as well. So what's up, Nikki? Um, yeah. So they obviously they got them out of there, and Amelia's line for autographs. So they were moving her around. She was taking photos. And does everybody in the chat? Did everybody see the photos of Emilia, Clarke, and Kit with myself? And I can show you guys that again if you're interested in seeing it. But they were carting her around from like the photo ops to autographs, and then over to the building where she did the Q&A. And I mean, it was a lot. It was clear that Kit and Amelia were huge fan favorites. But I think that probably next to Kit and Amelia, you know who got the biggest draw?
Who?
Haley Steinfeld.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Well, she was the voice of Gwen Stacy in that Spider-Man movie. And
Okay.
and that came out right when you were at the con. So
Okay, so that would make sense because there were a lot of Gwen Stacy people dressed up Gwen Stacy, and I'll tell you, the Across the Spider-Verse, it's got a big following. I saw more people dressed up like Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy. Brie Larson. Okay, so let me talk about Brie Larson for a second. And I know that Ryan Kennel's not on here, but so I go to walk in to take the photo with Amelia Clarke, Brie Larson, and we had VIP for the photos, and so they put you in this area that's where you're not in line with everybody else, and so somebody goes in waving a big flag, and Brie, I mean, she was not her, what we can say, her normal self. Felicity, you're more than welcome. Hope you enjoy the card. So Felicity was on our last stream, and she got the Game of Thrones cards. So hope you enjoy them. They're really cool. I actually was at the shop where I got these cards yesterday, and he is getting me 3 boxes of the Iron Anniversary. These are volume 2. Volume 1 is the Iron Anniversary from a year ago, 2 years ago, maybe. And those are the ones that have the best chance for Emilia Clarke and Kit Harington and other main actors. But yeah, so Ryan, so here's the story on Brie. So she was on something. Now, it was, could be from a doctor, it could be not. Like, she was bouncing all over the place. They were playing the Bee Gees. I think it was Staying Alive. And she reminded me, if you guys have seen Seinfeld, when Elaine is dancing, she is a horrible dancer. And it was funny. We were laughing. She was like, her shoulders, and she was going, woo. Awesome. And this girl came in with a flag. And I was like, I'm not going to say anything about, RK Outpost. Says, I wasn't going to say anything. And then I saw what happened before with the flag and all that, and she made a big deal out of it. And so I had if you guys have seen those Under Armour Freedom shirts, I was wearing a Freedom Under Armour shirt where it has the flag on the sleeve. So Bree looks over at us, and I was doing this. I was pointing to my flag, and then I walked up and I said, I said, RK Outpost says hello. And she goes, cool. Like, I couldn't tell whether she didn't know what I was talking about and she was just being geeky. And
she didn't even know where she was at the time.
I don't know, man. If you see the photo, for those that haven't seen the photo, I could probably pull it up, but she's in the photo, she's got this real shiny face, and she looks she was a little out of it, man. I don't know if she was just someone that was standing in line that was, I think, a Brie Larson fan. They said she's very nervous and she has a lot of anxiety for these types of things. So she's trying to do what's best for the fans. And I was like, okay, it was really weird though. She was nice, but her face, I don't know what was going on. And
to be fair, she's kind of stayed out of the conversation lately, though, hasn't she? Like, she doesn't talk much about. She opened her mouth on a few things and sounded like an idiot, and she's just kinda,
yeah. She
I think she got enough blowback where she just kind of stays to herself.
yeah. I I don't know. It was really weird, but she definitely acted strange. And I was just going to pull up the photos, but I'll do that. I'll do that in a minute. So we wrapped up with her, and then Andrew Garfield, um, the goober that he is. So we go into the room with
That was your most awkward picture by far.
yeah. Andrew Garfield. I got kind of pissed off because we were standing there, and he has this bodyguard. Now, Emilia Clarke and Kit Harington and Elizabeth Olsen and Haley Steinfeld, none of them had bodyguards that I saw anywhere. And I really want to know, like, I felt like she knew what I was saying when I said RK Outpost says hi or says hello. I said, yeah, RK Outpost says hello, by the way. And because she said it in a little snarky way, like cool,
Cool.
yeah, whatever. She's really weird. And so then we left, and then Andrew Garfield. So he's got about a 6'7" security guy.
Was he like a British hooligan?
I don't know, tatted up,
Yeah.
shaved head. And so there's about, in the VIP, there's like 10 people. And so we're the only ones, my wife and I, with our 2 kids, 8-year-old boy and almost 10-year-old boy, 2 little boys. And they kind of wanted to see Andrew Garfield because of Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yeah.
And so the security guard looks and says, there's no touching Andrew or else you're going to have a problem with me. Does everybody understand? And he's looking at my 2 boys when he says it. And, it pissed me off because I thought, okay, it's fine to say that, but why don't you look at the adults that are, that are behind me? Like, what? So, I told him, I was like, look, the only person that I'm touching is my wife, which is right here. So you need to take it easy. And so Andrew's heard me say
Who do you
that.
think he is, Emilia Clarke?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
You
care
think
about
you're Emilia
you.
Clarke? You're not Emilia
I don't
Clarke.
care about former Spider-Man.
Yeah, the ex Spider-Man of the
Has
movies.
been Spider-Man.
Yeah, the emo Spider-Man. And so, although Tom Holland might be the new emo Spider-Man, but he had a rough week, guys. But so Andrew Garfield heard me, he heard me say that. And so he was like, hey, he's got like, I was like, man, I don't even want to take a picture with you. So if you see the photo, and I'll show it here in a minute. My kids they're standing a foot away from Andrew, and I tell you, if you guys want me to show some of the photos, I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let me share my screen, and let me know if you guys get. Could you? So here's Emilia, and we met Emilia first. I mean, couldn't have been sweeter. I mean, she's easy on the eyes, but super sweet. She was talking to everybody in the room, super nice to everybody there. Couldn't have been sweeter. She was everything that you thought. That's my wife and my 2 boys, and she loved my youngest. She talked to him for a little while, as much as you could. There's Kit and Emilia. Funny thing was, Emilia had asked, where I wanted to stand, and I was like, no, I'm fine right here. So I didn't move. There's Elizabeth Olsen. Elizabeth Olsen, very, very nice. She a little shy, but very nice and classically pretty, like very, 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 very cute. And but again, she couldn't have been nicer. And Haley Steinfeld, loved her. She talked to both my boys for, I bet, 5 minutes. I mean, crazy long. We were like, we walked out. She was saying bye to them, but and when we were going in, we heard them saying that Haley's line runs super slow because she takes a lot of breaks. I'm like, well, it may be because she talks to everybody, but she's taller than me. She was kind of like bent over a little bit. She was taller than I thought, but man, she looked like a movie star. She was a knockout and totally sweet. That's my birthday photo when I came back for my 50th birthday. But so that's some. I'll share some of the others. Um, but yeah, no Cleve. Well, you know, um, so Kings, you talking about you've been sitting on the loading screen for like 15 minutes. I don't know, bud.
What was he talking about?
And anyway, so yeah, they were good with the kids. Kit was really good. You know, one thing that they had come out and said that his wife had given birth like on July the 3rd. I think it had been in some trades that she'd given birth on July the 3rd, and then Kit was there on Saturday, July the 7th. And then when he was in the Q&A, he said that that he had his wife had given birth a week. The baby was a week and a half old, or yeah. So I think she had the baby before that. She had the baby the prior week, which makes sense because she was at home by that point. So I think what happened was Rose Leslie had the baby. They didn't tell the public, and then she got home. Was probably like got home from the hospital. They waited a day or two and then released to the publicist that she had given birth.
Right.
I think that's probably what happened. So the merch. So got some good merch. So Katie Sackhoff signed Bo Katan.
You said she was cool, right?
Katie Sackhoff, super cool. Really cool. I hate that she is having I love that she's having a breakout time with The Mandalorian.
Just hated such a bad show.
I hate that she's having this success in a time when the show's horrible. That kind of sucks, but it is what it is. I mean, she's good in it. Everything else is bad. For the people that still like Star Wars, and I know it's dwindling, and I showed this on the stream the other day. There's this artist.
That's pretty cool.
That did the Japanese versions of Star Wars characters. So I got this.
Should have bought that Wolverine
Obi-Wan
you sent me.
And I got so for those that have to kind of do a double take, it's not Anakin, that's Luke, of course, because Luke has the green lightsaber. And so I liked this artist, Gallery Panda. So Gallery Panda makes those, and they also had I almost bought it. They had a Batman one. I almost got it for you.
The Batman and the Wolverine I thought were the coolest.
Yeah, and I have some more. They're not up here, but I have some more prints. I got a print from an artist on Yellowstone, the Paramount series. I got a print of Daenerys, of Jon Snow, and I got one. So it's Daenerys and Drogon, Jon Snow and Ghost, and then I got one of Daemon Targaryen. That was a cool one. So I think it's downstairs somewhere. I have to go find it. So sorry I don't have that with me right now, but I'll show it on our next stream. But and so it was really good, really good time. And again, I was disappointed that they didn't cover anything around Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon, but it is what it is. In regards to what's going on right now with House of the Dragon, let me share my screen just to kind of show you guys something that's out there. So here we go. So the season 2, as you guys know, with the writer's strike, there's no stopping House of the Dragon season 2. They're filming.
All right.
They haven't stopped due to the strike, Sterling. What do you think about that?
It was already written, wasn't it?
Well, they're probably cheating a little bit. They're Brits, right? They're in the UK. They're working over there, man.
That's right.
They're not, they're not letting the stuff stop their business.
They should be very careful. They'll be able to use AI here in a few years. We won't need any writers.
So, look, I mean, honestly, I mean, there's two ways to look at the strike stuff. I back the person that's trying to put food on their table and that lives paycheck to paycheck over Bob Iger, who makes $75,000 a day.
I'm just kind of enjoying watching them eat each other.
But at the same time, yeah, there's how can you argue with people that say, Hollywood is crapped on us so long that it's not, we don't care. We don't care what's going on with them. Yeah. I can't argue with someone and say, well, you should care.
That's kind of how I feel.
Though. I mean, that's not an argument I care to make.
The amount of things I get excited about as far as media, especially movies and TV shows, it's very rare. It's very, maybe one or two things a year at most.
Well, here's what they're doing. They're filming House of Dragon season 2, and right now, according to RedanianIntelligence.com, it's a good site. The only time I don't enjoy it is when they cover a lot of the Witcher stuff, because I'm checked out on the Witcher now that Henry's leaving. Yeah. I'm done with the Witcher. I'm done with the people behind the scenes that have screwed that lore up around. He was
the only one that cast.
Yeah, and casting Hemsworth. I'm not watching any of that.
Hemsworth isn't even what bugs me. It's just like some of the other casting was just awful.
Yeah,
the story changes and.
Yeah, I'm out on The Witcher. I'm done with that show. But House of the Dragon season 2 is currently filming triarchy scenes. So for those that have read Fire and Blood, we saw in season 1 the crab feeder, and the crab feeder who had the messed up face that you see right there on the screen, and Daemon Targaryen. What did he walk out of the cave with? Half his torso? He cut him.
It was, yeah. I was disappointed. I was disappointed they didn't actually show the fight.
Yeah, they didn't show. That was the one thing in House of the Dragon season 1 that I didn't like.
And that was a great scene when he's running up the beach and all that, but they never showed that fight.
They didn't show it. So he's walking out, and I think he just had his torso, right? He cut him in half. So the crab feeder, though, was not the big boss. The crab feeder is working on behalf of the triarchy. And the shots they're showing of the triarchy filming, it's not much to it. You can't really see anything. So there it is right there. And there's an actress, Elora Torquia. We don't know what role she's playing, but obviously it's House of the Dragon. But it at the end of the day, I want to show another. And by the way, while we're doing that, look to your right. I may have those prints I told you about right there. So check under Daenerys. Yeah, but that already had that.
Jon Snow.
Yeah.
So, the Daemon one.
So okay, so we're going to show you guys now. I told you I had these other prints that we bought, talking about Daemon and Jon and Daenerys. I'm going to show this to you right now, and I'm not going to give them away tonight, but I'm probably going to give them away at some point, all of them. So here we go. So. I can pull this out here. So Daemon Targaryen was the first one, and you have to get all these plastic covering things for every bit of artwork that you buy. It becomes like a thing where you have to chase down these plastic pieces. And the
Jon Snow when you got Ghost is pretty cool.
Okay, here we go. The plastic thing toward the end, but here's Daemon Targaryen. It's a black and white print, original, pretty cool. I haven't seen a lot of Daemon yet, so it was cool to see him next to Daenerys and to Jon. So then I'm going to give away a Jon Snow tonight. How about that? So Caleb, if you're ducking out, you never know. So here's a Jon Snow. This one's in color. So Jon Snow, King of the North with long claw. Well, what was funny was there was a photo being taken, a photo op, and this guy was dressed up in this exact costume with the long claw, and he handed Kit the sword, and he said, "Can you hold this for the picture?" And Kit goes, "I guess." What the Kit's got to get used to it. Emilia's a lot more polished when it comes to the events that Kit is. But Kit was good. It was so that's the colored one of Jon Snow, the color print. And we got a black and white one. This is where it gets cool because
I actually think this is the coolest one.
The reason why I like these is because It's John and Ghost. That's a great one, you guys. Black and white, but that's a great one.
Yeah.
And then, and oh, by the way, you probably can't see it on here. I'll post it in the community. I'll take a better shot of it. Ghost, his eyes are in color, so he's got kind of the
Red eyes.
yeah the reddish kind of auburn colored eyes. So, and then what else we got?
You've got a Daenerys.
This is so good. I see what I like about John and Daenerys is it has Drogon and Ghost in them. That's what make these. That's what stood out about these prints. That I like. I mean, they're really good. I mean, it probably doesn't do them justice seeing them on the screen, but in person they look really cool, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
And what else we got?
They're not really. Well, you got the Yellowstone one, but I don't.
We'll show them. It's a hand of the king stream.
You've
But
got
we'll
a Outsiders one, which that's.
Guys, you
if
guys
anybody knows anything about that,
you guys are gonna see how old I am. So we covered 1923 in Yellowstone. I thought that one was pretty cool. So that's Yellowstone. And the reason why I got it's because Kevin Costner's leaving the show. So how many more of these are they gonna make? I thought that was pretty cool. So I got that one.
this is a classic
And
right
then
here.
I'm dating how old I am here, but
80 star power.
I had to get it. I had to get this. If you haven't read the book, which is a quick read, or seen the movie, The Outsiders. These are the greasers.
Great movie.
Yeah.
How many superstars were in that?
You got Matt Dillon, Dallas or Dally. You got Ralph Macchio, Johnny. You got Emilio Estevez, 2-Bit. You got C. Thomas Howell, Pony Boy. Patrick Swayze's Daryl. Rob Lowe is Soda Pop. And the trivia question that a lot of people always get wrong, or they don't get, is what was the name of the character that Tom Cruise played? His name was what, guys? Do you know the answer? I'll give you about 5 seconds, and then I'll tell you. The answer of who Tom Cruise played in the movie was dun dun dun. Diane Lane played Cherry, and Tom Cruise was Steve. He's always a tricky one because he had just a normal name. But so I had to get The Outsiders. But that was a huge movie when I was a kid, man. Talking about the socials and the greasers. But we're gonna give away one of these prints tonight. I'm gonna give away the Jon Snow, the colored print of Jon Snow. Giving this away tonight. So stick around to the end of the stream, and that's all you got to do to get a shot at it. And we're a newer channel. We don't have a big audience yet, so your odds are pretty good.
It's about 1 in 12 right now, guys.
Yeah, so or less. So Special Ray, just about everybody's won stuff, right? Matt Taween, have you won anything yet? Nikki, I'll send you whatever. I got Nick at Echo Base. He was talking about, I'm not a big Lego guy. Are you a Lego guy?
No.
Lego came along after I don't remember it being a big part of my childhood.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of getting big when I was a kid, but I didn't love it.
Yeah,
they would always do these Lego themed, they have Lego themed Star Wars and X-Men, and they would do all these games and stuff. And I was always wishing it would just be like the real X-Men or the real Star Wars.
Yeah,
Lego thing, the Lego aspect of it took me out of it.
Yeah, so Nick at Echo Base, he loves a good Lego set. So he was talking about the trench run.
My nephew loves them. I mean, there's some elaborate sets.
Venger, I thought about this, Venger. You know what I may do? I'm due to be. Are you? I may get Sterling to go with me. I'm due to be in the UK before the end of the year, and if it's easy for me to travel with something, and I know that I've already got the trip booked and scheduled, what I may do is make you eligible to win something. And if you win something, Venger, before I make the trip, just bring it over with me. And then I could pull that off. Then I just have to ship it from the UK. There you go. So I'll get creative if you win something, Venger. But I do know that the last time I shipped something to you, it was it cost more than the value of what I sent, which was crazy. I didn't know that till I got there. But hopefully you enjoyed it. I hope you did. Yeah, but Lego's got some cool sets. But as far as House of the Dragon, so the Triarchy, they're they're filming. There was filming those scenes, and the triarchy is 3 of the free cities of Essos. So it's Mir, it's Lys, and what was the last one? Um, the last one was what, guys? Do you remember the last one? Was I'm trying to remember. I always forget the name of the last one. Tritorch. What was it? Um, who knows the last city? So the three cities of the three free cities of Essos, they they formed kind of an alliance and a government, and they went to battle against the sea snake, and so we're going to see the triarchy in season 2, which is a little not interesting, but they've only got 8 episodes. So I hope that with everything they've got to accomplish this season with Blood and Cheese and with um, the things that happened that we think is going to end up in King's Landing at the end of the season, I'm starting to question whether we're going to see the big sea battle, the battle of the gullet. Obviously, yeah, Essos. The third city in Essos is it's not Pentos of Atlantis. It's part of it. Um, I'll think of it. It's let me look it up here while we it's the disputed lands. Um, so the triarchy has Mir, Lys, and I can't think of it. So I think it's like Tritorch or something like that. Um, someone could look it up and get the answer. It's not Norvos. It's like try something, but I'm forgetting. It's been a long day. I just got back from Nashville today, guys. So I was in Nashville early this morning, all through the day. Tyrosh, that's it. So they banded together and they fought the sea snake, and we're going to see more of that. So um, I think we're going to see Rook's Rest. We're going to see um, a more. We're going to see Blood and Cheese. Obviously, we're going to see some funerals, and we're going to see Damon and Harrenhal, and we're going to end the season. I think we're going to, the sea battle, Nikki. Right now, I'm starting to think that it's coming at the beginning of season. I think it's going to be season 3. I could be wrong. It would be awesome if season 2 ended with the big sea battle. That would be cool. The children's funeral, sure, absolutely, has to be in it. Season 2. Harrenhal, I want to see them. That's why I was a little worried about them having. I don't know how you guys feel about 8 episodes. I want to see more of Harrenhal and kind of the why it's such a haunting place, right? Like in Damon's interaction within that. I want to see that. It's kind of like when you have a series versus movies and you want to get more in depth about that. Was what was great about the first 6 seasons of Game of Thrones is all this stuff happened along the King's Road and in the pubs and the conversations. It's like the famous line where Tyrion says, I drink and I know things when he's with uh, Missandei and Grey Worm, and you've got and even when Tyrion talks to Jon and says, that they're bastards, and you know, and knowing that is an advantage, right? Let's don't forget who you are because nobody else will, and all those moments, the dialogue around that within those small moments, that was when Tyrion, the beginning of the show, is meeting Jon for the first time and talking to him. So, it's really cool stuff. So, season 2, yeah, I mean, with the pandemic, they slowed down on House of the Dragon, but Nikki, I think here's what's got me hopeful.
They're still working off book material, though.
You're working off book material.
Hopefully, you can't screw that up.
Vermithor's gonna kick ass, just not in the way that some people think, when they see Damon singing to him. But I think it's contained, and we know this is not going to be like an 8-season series. We know it's going to be very contained, and so I think that they've got a tight story. So I don't think we're going to have a lot of filler. You watch other series and you go, man, I could have skipped these last 2 episodes and nothing happened. And then you see an episode you really like, and then another episode that's boring, and then another episode you like. And if you get to the end of the season, you go, well, the season was just okay because there were 3 episodes that were really good and there were 5 that were so-so. That didn't happen with House of the Dragon. I mean, I think there was only 1 episode that we said was okay,
Right.
and the rest were just bangers, man. They were great. But so here's a question. Sterling, you won't know this, but I was just kind of putting this to the people that have read the books. How many people have read Fire and Blood? And I was thinking about the other series that will be coming out eventually from Max, and we know we're going to get an Aegon the Conqueror. And I even think I'm starting to believe that even though it doesn't fit necessarily the physical body type from like the artist drawings or the books, I think Henry Cavill is going to play Aegon the Conqueror.
I don't think he will.
Henry Cavill, Aegon the Conqueror. But anyway, and that's just me being a fan. There's nothing behind that. So Venger. So in the books, Star Wars Marvel purist. So there's a portion in the very kind of the beginning when we talk about Aegon, where he says, it was then that Princess Daria presented the king with a sealed letter from her father, for your eyes only, your grace. And so King Aegon read Prince Namor's words in open court, stone-faced and silent, while seated on the Iron Throne. And so I was thinking about that part of the book, and we know that afterwards he called off the war, right? He basically ended the bloodshed and the fighting in Dorne and brought peace to the kingdom. And so, but we don't really know what was in the letter. So yeah, most Targaryens are lanky. I think that they're probably going to go with someone. I'm being kind of funny, but I want to see Henry Cavill play Aegon. I was looking at some artist work the other day, and it's like, damn, that'd be killer.
He's pretty covered up though. He's got that Warhammer thing going on, and that's probably going to take
the Warhammer, yeah, and he's got other stuff he's doing too. So the letter, what made Aegon the Conqueror, who fought everyone to conquer the 7 kingdoms except for Dorne, and didn't necessarily always make the right strategic decisions, but he had Valerian the Black Dread, and he had the 2 sisters.
He didn't need strategy.
Well, and there was some strategy, but so he needed talking about the the lighting the fields on fire, right? When the soldiers got caught in the fields, he had some good fortune, some good luck, but what would have made Aegon the Conqueror back away? So there was rumors that the prince was sending the body or the remains of his sister back to him and wanted peace and pled for peace. We don't know. What was it that made Aegon the Conqueror, say, look, enough's enough, and the war was over. And so the question to you guys is, 1, what do you think it was? And then 2, do you think an Aegon the Conqueror series will do the same thing that the books do and keep that a mystery? Because that will obviously be where the series ends. So I'm doing a little bit of spoiler, and that, there's so much stuff that happens. So hopefully it's not ruining it for anybody, but this Aegon the Conqueror series will end with either him as an old man or him dying and the kingdom's at peace, or it has been at peace. But I think the best place for it to end would be with him reading the letter and the war is over. The perfect bookend to Aegon the conquering Westeros. But what was it? And what do you think the series that they do on Max will show that, or will they keep the mystery? Is it better to keep that mysterious? Sometimes you don't want to. You've got these things in your head that you imagine, and it's written well, or do they want to go in detail over that? So it's interesting. I don't know. I mean, so Nikki says Venture says the long night ? Um, you know, maybe George will reveal it. It can't be the long night. According to the show, already knows the long night. He already knows the long night's coming. Um, and yeah, so Mataween, we're starting to hearing a little bit of rumbling storms here. I was in Nashville today, and the storms were really bad, and they rolled through. I didn't have any bad weather coming back to where I live.
Like every week,
we're getting for those of you that aren't from this part of the country, we are getting bad storms just about once or twice a week. The last month, we had 150 plus thousand homes without power. 3 days ago? Yeah. My birthday was Tuesday, and the power was out everywhere. Anyway, so if anything happens and the stream drops, it's because we're getting hit with something. So
power went out.
Yeah. So do you've always wondered maybe some dragon seeds in Dorne? If the dragon seeds in Dorne, when he want to plunder them? Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, it's interesting. Like, thank you for the birthday wish, Daisy Blossom. To me, that's fascinating. And from a creative choice, do you know? What do you do if you're going to tell that in the series? I don't know, but let me jump for 1 second. I want to show you guys something I think is kind of funny, and it's just jumping topics for just a second because I want to show you something in the world of Star Wars that I know people get tired of, but I just think this is funny. So Variety posted an article today. John Boyega, he ranked the Star Wars movies, and John Boyega was asked by Hot Ones to rank the films in the Star Wars trilogy, which kicked off on a high note in his Star Wars trilogy. So Star Wars Force Awakens, according to John Boyega, is definitely the best. I would agree with that, wouldn't you?
I guess I really didn't think it was that good, though.
Well,
the only thing about that movie was people still had hope that the trilogy would be good.
That's right.
But the movie was not that good.
No. But it was The Godfather compared to the next two. So then I just and that trilogy.
He kind of earned it, though. I mean, he whined and not like John Boyega sucks. I don't care about. I don't like John Boyega either.
So
people give him pity points, like, "Oh, I want to see more of him." No, you don't. Nobody wants to see more John Boyega.
So he says, second for me comes The Rise of Skywalker, the worst. And he says, in the most respectful sense, is The Last Jedi, but they're all lovely. He cracked a smile and gave some side eye, alluding to the fact that many Star Wars fans already know Boyega's grievances with the space franchise. So I don't know. I just thought that was funny, everybody. John Boyega, I thought it was cool, that he F John Boyega sell out. Oh gosh, I had to deviate for just a minute because before I forgot about it. But anyway, Star Wars Marvel Purist says normally I'd say they would reveal it, but with the writing and the way they handle these Game of Thrones shows, I lean towards them keeping it a mystery. I think you're probably right. I think they probably won't show it, but I think it's
a little different because cool. you have to understand that they're adapting the books into the shows. So
have a good one, Matt Dwayne. Thanks for stopping by, buddy.
They're going to want to make sure everything kind of links for the more casual audience because not everybody read the books.
Right, right.
And a lot of the people tuning into the shows haven't read the books, so they might do something that links more with the shows.
Yeah. So, we'll see. I thought it was kind of cool to kind of.
I thought they kept bringing up the long night and all that for the Jon Snow
Mushroom. You want to see Mushroom, freaky character. So we know we know that obviously there's a strike going on right now. We've talked about it. So you have no sympathy for the writers or actors?
No. I mean, for one, they're all overpaid as it is. Well, I don't know about the writers, but I mean, it's not like the actors are struggling. I mean,
right.
Most of them are multi-millionaires. Some of the writers, I understand that, but there's been so much bad crap just in entertainment, especially from Disney's line. I mean, from Disney, Star Wars, Marvel. I mean, everything they've released to me has been from, average to awful. So, I mean,
Well,
it's not like if you want to go on strike, that's fine. That's less of your crap I got to watch.
yeah.
I mean, I don't even watch most of it anymore, unfortunately.
Again, I have empathy for every type of person that is struggling to put food on their table on a weekly or monthly basis. A lot of these writers, are, they're struggling to you know to pay their bills. They're not the people that I think like 1%. Yeah, I saw that the other day, Nikki. Like that doesn't surprise me though. Like 1% qualify for health insurance. So here's the thing though.
But why are the smaller actors and stuff in a union like that? That's not doing them any good,
Well,
anyways.
well, how about you've got actors. I think I read that The Rock made like north of $40 million for Red Notice on Netflix. Now, good on The Rock for getting that deal, but you've got these actors, that the very top making obscene amounts of money, even when the movies flop. So I think it's stupid for the studios to bring on somebody and there's no risk. They come on, they make 20 million plus up front, then the movie loses $100 million. I'd rather say, look, you're going to take 5 million and you get back in on the profit, right?
But I don't
If the
understand.
movie makes a profit.
I
But
don't
but these
understand.
actors are making a ton of money. And I never heard before the strike happened. Did you hear any of these top actors or even the top writers or Noah Baumbach that did Barbie? I didn't hear any of them talking about the actors that are struggling for the health care and the actors struggling to pay the bills. I didn't hear any of this until we got to the strike, and then now it's like, it's a big deal. But I think that the ideology and stuff, whatever way you lean on that, it's hurt because the majority of people that are doing the same thing, going to work every day, trying to pay their bills and struggle, they're like, well, and nobody's fighting for me, and so they don't care. They've tuned them out. So I think the politics, unfortunately, has hurt the cause of the people that are out there trying to fight for a real living wage. And of course, you're living in a state that's poorly run, and so your cost of living and the things that I don't know. That I think you're starting to see more things being filmed in Canada, things being filmed in Georgia, things are obviously being filmed over in the UK.
I don't understand how that works though. So like regardless of where they film or none of that matters, or they still they're part of that guild that spreads across
Well, some of the UK isn't necessarily bound by that guild.
Because they film a lot of stuff in the US now in Georgia.
Yeah, but
right?
they're still part of the Screen Actors Guild.
Okay.
So like, it doesn't matter where in the United States you're filming. If you're part of the guild, you're part of the guild. The scene with Damon. So in what reference, Special Ray? You said scene with Damon. Star Wars Marvel Pure says politicians wanted to bail out that whole bank, but not help people with contaminated water. Was it Ohio? It was Michigan. It was the water. You're talking about the water issue in Flint, Michigan. Yeah, the bank was the Silicon Valley Bank. Silicon Bank.
That's the one that went bankrupt.
I'm very familiar with it. So I'm very familiar with that.
But I don't know. I think whenever you see like a movie and you see that like it's a
I want to see The Rock on the picket lines. Yeah. Yeah, like he just you guys can pull it up online. He pulled down like $40 million for Red Notice. It didn't even go to the theaters. It was on Netflix. And so, I would think if you can make $40 million, I'd show up and bring some pizzas to people on the street. Did you see what, I don't know if it was Universal or one of the studios, there were these trees on the street that gave shade to the picketers.
Oh.
And they cut the tree limbs. Did you guys see that? They cut the trees, they trimmed the trees down.
That's so progressive.
And it moved all the shade away to where they're exposed to the sun.
It's funny.
Barely any A-list celebrities been on picket lines. So that's got me going, you know what? Some of this is disingenuous.
I just always thought that like once somebody was in a major production.
I mean, I know Tom Cruise negotiates his
money.
own deals. So does The Rock. I get that, but you can go out there and try to support the people that are fighting for their wages. But I don't think the majority of Americans care. I really don't. And guess what?
So they hate Middle America.
So guess
what?
They
made that loud and clear.
Instead of new Marvel shows getting made, people go, well, I guess I'll go back and watch the first Iron Man movie. Yeah. And instead of watching them screw up X-Men,
I watch the old movies,
the
old cartoon.
Yeah, like, was
I hope they don't screw that up. That's the last hope I have for entertainment media, is that they get the X-Men right.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Planet Serpo. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen you before, Planet Serpo. Welcome. Unless the name's changed, but anyway, yeah, we had a little stall here on the chat for a second, so I apologize, guys. Someone says that Ben Shapiro is who? Are you asking if I'm Ben Shapiro or Sterling?
I don't think either one of us look like Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, neither one of us are Ben Shapiro. Isn't he a real little guy? Ben Shapiro. Yeah, is he he's the one that was on the show where the person threatened to hit him? Yeah. That wouldn't happen with me or Sterling. I can promise you. That wouldn't happen with us if someone threatened us in person. It'd be fun. But anyway, so we've got House of the Dragon filming, and we don't have any announcements yet on Jon Snow, but we know Aegon the Conqueror series they've already talked about it's in development, and then the strike happened, so there's no writer's room or anything like that. I'm starting to get to where I don't want to. If part of this deal that they strike is no more writers' rooms, I don't want any writers' rooms. I want to do what like Taylor Sheridan does. You know what he says? He says, I'm writing the story. I don't need a bunch of writers that come in that haven't lived this or don't know what I'm writing about to slow me down, and then I have to pay that. I'm going to write it. And so, I want Ryan Condal. I want hire someone to work with George. Oh, Duncan Egg, The Night of the Seven Kingdoms. We haven't talked about that yet. They had to stop development on that too. But again, that's another one where I think there is a writer's room. At least I think George said that. But I'm not a fan of the writer's room. It's just have someone write the material and submit it. That
story's been written too, though.
Yeah, the Duncan Egg. Well, they're the novellas, The Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which we have that too. So we've got for those that haven't checked out, you could go to if someone wants the book, I'll send you the book if someone really wants it. But you could get it online for not much. So it's The Night of the Seven Kingdoms. So I think Duncan Egg, Night of the Seven Kingdoms will be a little more lighthearted. It won't be as heavy as what we've seen in Game of Thrones. So I think they're trying to hold the audience they've got and then bring in a little bit of a newer audience. But so we've got Night of the Seven Kingdoms, we've got Aegon, no Jon Snow yet. And again, I've talked about this before. Too much diversity in writers' rooms. Why do you need a writer's room? Just hire a writer like Mark Greaney, who does The Gray Man. He's written, 2 books a year for the last 12 years. You can't. I mean, I know George takes forever to write, but they're 1,500-page books. These series and these stories, I want to see somebody come in and do. I know some people aren't fans of remakes. I'm not either, but I want to see someone come in and do a remake of Last Starfighter, The Black Hole.
I will say, different entertainment. As far as gaming goes, remakes are the best thing going on
for
right
gaming.
Now.
Yeah,
I mean that's what. Yeah,
especially the writers' rooms. I hate writer. I don't even like the term writers' rooms. I don't like it. I don't trust it because there's 1 or 2 people doing all the work, and then there's somebody that names a character Mushroom, and then they're done. That's a joke for Nicky, but yeah. So it kind of transitioning real quick while we're on a stream. We've got some movies coming out this weekend. So Sterling, do you have your tickets for Barbie?
No.
Yeah, me neither. So
I feel it's crazy because you hear these people talking about how they walked out of the theater, and I'm like, why did you even go see that? I don't
Last Starfighter is a great movie, Daisy Blossom.
That's just not my
so what a shocker. They were sold that Barbie was something, and then they're starting to go to the theater and get screenings of it, and it's not what they thought it was, right? Not surprised. I mean, look, I don't. Barbie could be really good. It's probably going to make a bunch of money, but
it's just not.
If it alienates a big chunk of the audience by being too political and with Greta directing,
I mean, that's one of those things. They've done that on movies and properties that I care about, and it makes me angry. But on something like that, I don't care about it. I don't have any energy for it because I was never going to watch it to begin with.
But I am going to see Oppenheimer this weekend. So
I think that'll be a really good movie. I don't know if it's a theater.
Well, I'm going to see it in IMAX. You know,
is that you think that'll be like special for IMAX?
Yes. I mean, if you could go see it, and correct me, Chad, if I'm wrong, 70 millimeter or 35, but either one in IMAX. Yeah, you got to go see that movie in IMAX. Got to.
I think so.
Yes. I've seen a couple of reactions to Oppenheimer, and they say Robert Downey Jr. one of the best things he's ever done. Like
what's
unbelievable in it, and I trust that.
What's the main actor's name again?
From Cillian Murphy.
Yeah, from Peaky Blinders.
Yeah,
Batman. He
70 millimeter. Thanks, Felicity.
I saw the some real life pictures of Oppenheimer. I mean, he really does look like him.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Went on some crazy diet to lose a bunch of weight.
Yeah, it's gonna cover the Manhattan Project, and it's gonna cover the bomb, and then after effects. For people that don't know what happened with Oppenheimer and being accused of being communist and all that. He fell in love with a woman who was a communist, and so it'll be interesting to how they explore that. But there's certain people that I feel like they're very fair when they go see something. Pauly Latino Slant is one of those that I really like. No pretense. He just like, hey, this is what I thought about the movie. I really like that. His videos are short and kind of gets to the point. And when he said Robert Downey Jr. amazing in it, I trust that. Because Pauly just tells it like it is. He goes and sees the movies, and he likes it. He tells you, and so I'm interested to see Robert Downey Jr.'s performance in it. And there's a whole cast, but Jeremy Jahns. I haven't watched a ton of his interviews or his reviews lately, but I did watch his review on Oppenheimer. Venger talking about House of the Dragon. If they decide to make a long reign of Jaehaerys the First, they may need 2 seasons to cover his life. Yep. So that that could the other thing about Aegon, going back, I'm jumping back, so I apologize, to Aegon the Conquest, is where do they pick up? We talked about the end of Aegon, a potential series, but where do they start it? That would be really cool. Like, do they start it, with him before he's born, or when we see Valeria and the doom of Valeria, and then Aegon? How do they tie that together?
Is that 100% happening?
Aegon's happening. The question is it happening after Night of the Seven Kingdoms?
Okay.
So Aegon's happening. It's again, George, I think, has been more supportive of some of the stuff that takes place before Game of Thrones in the timeline. We've talked about this before. They are going to be very, very, very careful about Jon Snow. That is going to be seen as a sequel. So it's different than every other show they're doing. And
I
so
think he tried to finish his books first, just before they did any.
And I've said too, a little conspiracy theorist, but I think he's got the 6th book finished, and I think he's got a chunk of the last one finished. I think there's other reasons why he's holding it from being released. I think that when he had a falling out with David and Dan after season 5, I think he scrapped the majority of Winds of Winter. I think he had that book basically written, and I think he scrapped it, and I think he's changing a lot of stuff. And by several factors, but I think one of them is that he got sideways with Dan and Dave, knew how they were going to end the show, and then he's decided he was going to change.
I don't necessarily think the books would have been that much different. I just think he would have done a much better job explaining what happened.
Yeah,
outside of Arya killing the Night King, that was probably something they totally added. But I could have seen Jon killing Daenerys. That's probably how it would have worked out, anyways. They just didn't do a good job leading up to that point. They needed another 2 seasons.
Okay, real quick. Where's Nikki Nikki? Is Nikki Nikki still on here? And Star Wars Marvel purist. If you were still on and the chat's a little glitchy tonight, and we're having bad weather, so I apologize if we have a delay on it. But I'm going to give some stuff away. So if so, Nikki, do you want one of the? Do you care at all about these lanyard passes? These that have the superhero con, the Jon Snow, or do you not care about those? If you don't care about those, I've got something else for you. So I'll give you a choice, Nikki. So you've got the special way, the need a longer,
I
slower
agree.
descent to madness for Daenerys.
They should have spent a whole season on that.
Yes. It didn't make sense. I mean, her friend gets her head chopped off.
The Night King shouldn't have died till episode 9 of that season.
Okay, so Nikki,
one more
don't want those. We're gonna make the rounds of several people and giving stuff away. So Nikki, you want an honorary hand of the king? I've already got one, so you can't say keep it for mine because I've already got one. These things are so heavy, and they're really cool. So I've got.
Wants a print.
So okay, so Nikki, you got that as a choice, and then I'm going to the next person in a second. So you got that as a choice. You got, because I don't know what all you have, Nikki. Rise of the Dragon illustrated book, which is really great. Got great stuff in it. So you got that as an option. Let's see, what else do we have?
Yeah, this print you're giving away, aren't you?
Well, I'm going to give that. I'll tell you what. Star Wars Marvel purist. Have you won anything before? I know Special Ray has. I know Venger has. Star Wars Marvel purist. Have you won anything? If you haven't, and you're a Game of Thrones fan and you want something, let me know, because I've got 3 things I'm going to give away tonight. Okay, you haven't won anything. Star Wars Marvel purist. Do you want one of the lanyards that's, I think pretty cool? It's got the date of the event. It's got Kit Harington. It's got artwork on it. Or you could do the Hand of the King pin, and it's official from HBO. Or you can do Rise of the Dragon book. Which one? You like one of those 3? Let me know. What do you think? You tell me. The book's like, you can look online. The book's like, I think $50, $60, $70. It's not cheap. It's a heavy book. I also need to qualify with you, Star Wars Marvel purists. You are in the United States, right? To send this to another country. And you want the Rise of the Dragon book. You're in the United States. Where in the United States are you? The book is really cool.
You've given away a couple of those, haven't you?
I've given away 3 of the books, and I think I'm trying to think of. You're in the country of Texas. I just got back from Texas, so Texas it is. You got the book. So okay, Nikki, bring my print over here.
It's your boy right here, Jon Snow.
See, Nikki will put this stuff on her walls, and okay, Nikki, what do you think? The secret. And then YouTube user. Oh, Daisy Blossom. Have you won anything before? I'm in a giving mood tonight. So Daisy Blossom, let me know if you've won before too. I can't remember Special Ray. I think I sent you. I think you got the Game of Thrones card set. Okay, Nikki, the print is yours. Okay, so Daisy Blossom, you haven't won anything? Daisy Blossom, do you want Hand of the King? Do you want, if there's anything you've seen, I know Special Ray, you got the cards. Let's see, what else do we got? Where are you located, Daisy Blossom? So the new book on season 1 of the House of the Dragon, I'll have it. So love to give away stuff. Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. So the book is great, YouTube user. The book is great. Nevada. Do I say it right?
Nevada.
I think I'm saying it right. Do you want the Game of Thrones Volume 2 autograph card set? And it's got, where are my cards at? I think my cards are, oh, I have them in the other room. The card set for the Game of Thrones. Yeah. So YouTube user, do you follow me on Twitter? So that's the way I send stuff to you. So you just have to follow the Sundowners. I think it's the Sundowners one. I'll make sure while I'm on here. It's the Sundowners 1, the number 1. You follow me on Twitter, then you let me know where you're going to be. You're in the United States, and I'll send it to you. My only requirements, you got to be in the United States. And so you follow me and not on Twitter. So if you, let's see, how do we want to do this? You could send me an email. So my contact stuff is on our YouTube page. So if you're able to send me a message on the YouTube page, with your address, or just let me know that you're going to send it to me, and I will. Daisy Blossom, the Sundowners 1. That's us. So we haven't done much on our Twitter. I mainly use the Twitter page for sending away things, giveaways to people, and I'm going to post more on there. Post more videos and stuff like that. So we're going to start doing a lot more on Twitter. Some things exclusively for Twitter. I'm not a big fan of a lot of the social media stuff that's out there, so we're very limited on that. But we're going to be launching audio versions of our videos and streams, and so especially as we start to get into more content, we're gonna be telling stories around the Mad King and around the various things around Aegon the Conqueror and Jaehaerys, all the different Targaryen kings, and then the Starks. So we're going to start getting into a little bit more. We'll do a little bit more lore content. But I do not, Venture, I don't have a Facebook page. I do not like Facebook at all. But let's see. If you can send me something on our YouTube page, I will. Daisy Blossom, you want the card set?
This.
Yep. So, YouTube user, did you want the card set too? I think you wanted the card set too.
How many do you have?
I've got like 4. So I'll get you both the card sets. So everybody that's won something, all you got to do, Nikki knows, Avenger knows. You just you go on my Twitter and you send me your address, and I'll send it to you. So anyway, hopefully everybody enjoys the stuff, the Game of Thrones stuff. I like to give away Game of Thrones stuff. So at some point I may part with the poster you're looking at, but right now I'm a little partial to it. Yeah.
Oh,
Because I think I'm going to end up getting that signed. I almost took it with me to San Antonio, but a DM in Discord, is that cool? So Star Wars Marvel purist, I'm on Discord and X-Wings Discord, and echo based. Yeah, so UTVs are with Ghost. Yeah, that one I'm keeping for right now. Yeah,
He likes that one too.
yeah, everybody likes that one. But oh yeah, I'm in that one. Star Wars Marvel Purist. Yeah, I'm in that one. So you can shoot me something there. I'm definitely in that one. That's the one that gets a little crazy sometimes. The Chimera. So Nikki knows how crazy that gets. But so yeah, Oppenheimer. Is anybody going to go see Oppenheimer this weekend? I know it's off the subject for Game of Thrones, but what do you guys think for Oppenheimer? Has anybody already seen Mission Impossible? YouTube user, I would love Jon Snow with Ghost. I'm not giving that one away right now.
You should have bought 2. You knew that was going to be popular.
Yeah. The one, yeah. Well, I saw the one. There's not a lot of artwork out there when you go to these cons, and there was a lot of Game of Thrones stuff there because Kit and Emilia were there. But I don't know if you guys see this all the time. It's never crazy in there sometimes. Yeah, Special Ray. It's yeah. These cons, there's a lot of like the prints that show their face, right? And I want to see more of the action scenes where Daenerys is on a dragon or Jon Snow is in battle. Like I want to see more action scenes in the artwork, but I know that's harder to do. So but that's what I look for. So when I saw these prints where it was Jon Snow with Ghost and Daenerys with Drogon, I didn't see those at all. So when I saw it, I snatched them up. There was one, and I don't know how I feel about these. The artwork where you kind of move it and it changes the image.
Yeah, like a hologram
type. And they had one where it was Jon Snow and Daenerys. Then you turned it and it turned into the Night King. And I was going to buy it the next day, and the next day it was sold. It was gone. So, Mission Impossible. You saw Felicity. You saw MI7. Have you seen all the Mission Impossible movies? Did you like it the best? Daisy Blossom. What did you think about MI7? I thought it was top 3 for Mission Impossible. Is it better than? I don't think it's better than Fallout. And I don't know about Ghost Protocol. I think I would put MI7 third, which is good. Yeah, Ghost Protocol and Fallout. Those are my 2 favorites.
What was the one with Cavill?
Cavill was Fallout. Was Cavill in Fallout or Ghost Protocol? Where he does his fists and he had the mustache and that screwed up the Justice League movie. But yeah, so I'm gonna go see Oppenheimer. Cavill was in Fallout. Yeah, I thought it was Fallout. Cavill's great, man. We talked about Warhammer earlier, and I know we're jumping. That's what happens on streams. But how do you think Warhammer's going to look like visually? What's it going to look like if you compare it to something else?
Well, they're gonna have to spend a lot of money on it to make it look good. I mean, I would say it's like a darker Star Wars.
But it's on Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Amazon, have they been worried about spending money on series? Now they've ended up with some crap series.
No.
So
I mean, they spent. I think Rings of Power was the most expensive show ever made. It was
horrible,
awful. But
yeah. So yeah, MI7 top 3 for sure. I think so too. I Fallout, Ghost Protocol, Dead Reckoning Part 1. That's what I would say right now.
But yeah, it's a show that needs a big budget and
needs the budget, which Amazon's done. But Amazon's also, aren't they also backing the Phoebe Waller-Bridge Tomb Raider? And then Greta Gerwig is about to do Chronicles of Narnia, but those are going to be cinematic.
Well, they've see Amazon's weird. They've had some hits and some misses. I thought Rings of Power was awful. I thought The Boys was actually pretty good.
The Boys is good, but that's not a massive budget, is it?
I mean, it's probably one of the more expensive shows.
Well, the Jack Ryan series they spent a lot of money on,
and they've got
Reacher. They got Reacher.
Yeah, actually, I should like that, but I don't.
I liked Reacher.
I like that actor.
Am-
I like how, but
Am-
I couldn't get into it. It reminded me
Amazon's
of the
not
stuff
sweating
that
it.
used to come on like NBC and
Yeah,
ABC back in the day. I don't know.
Amazon is not. They're not. They're not worried about it because it's not their core business.
They
Um,
put Cavill in charge of it. Like I think he's not just acting in it. Like he's a producer too. So I think they'll at least get the story right and all that.
Oh, so I'm going to address Special Ray here in a second. I got to talk about that. But first, Venger, since
San
we're a
Francisco
hand of the
Bengals.
king, we're always going to address this stuff. Battle of Winterfell against the dead. I was hoping Nymeria and her massive wolf pack appeared, the dire wolves, and attacked the whites, especially when Arya reunited with Nymeria. I was disappointed in that. I thought, I know they were basically, she was saying goodbye, and Nymeria had a new family, and so it was a way for her to say goodbye. But I felt like that they introduced Nymeria so Nymeria would come back and help. That the battle for Winterfell, one of the worst things was they sent the Dothraki out there. They were all they were all lit up with the fire, and then they got wiped out.
And then they're back.
In the next
3
episode,
episodes later,
the whole army's back.
like it's like not one of them died. That was one of the worst parts of the entire.
Yeah,
season.
that's
completely immersion breaking. Like it just took me out of everything. You thought they should have all been
some Frank Castle stuff
wiped out.
So let me tell you, I love the Punisher. Love the Punisher. And
they've ruined him in the comics. By the way,
Bernthal's a badass Punisher. I am worried. Did you get a sense from from the Daredevil panel with Vincent D'Onofrio we were at in Nashville with Charlie Cox? They didn't seem all that excited for the new Daredevil.
No, and it was funny because no cameras were allowed in that interview.
Yeah, it was a little weird. Yeah, I just don't trust Disney. D&D. They didn't get that new deal. They tried to negotiate a big payday. They knew George wanted 10 plus seasons. They can say all they want that they were ready to move on. That's bull. They were ready to make money, and they were at the high after season 5, 6, and they wanted to cash in. HBO didn't pay them what they thought they were worth, and that's when they did the deal. They did the Star Wars deal first, but really they were working on the Netflix deal the whole time. So I don't know how deep they were on Star Wars because it wasn't too much longer when it started leaking out that they were in final negotiations for the Netflix deal. Now they have
their other projects,
and that was like 4 years ago.
What's going on with that?
The 3-body problem, the first thing they have that's coming out, and I'm not excited.
So the Star Wars thing got canceled, right?
Star Wars, yeah, they were going to do the Dawn of the Jedi, or they were going to go,
and there was something else
back.
They had,
or the Knights of the Old Republic. Weren't they going to do Knights of the Old Republic?
They had something else they were doing too. They got canned. What was that?
They were going to do the alternate history of the Civil War.
That's right.
If the South had won, well, they should have known they weren't going to green like that. Come on, so stupid. Like, I mean, if it's a good story, that's fine. But like, you're not going to walk into HBO and they green like that. Whose idea was that? But anyway, Star Wars Marvel. Have you read Garth Ennis Punisher? Top tier, just like Mike Baron Punisher. Yeah. I love the Punisher.
They've ruined him in the comics now, though. He's like a ninja. He's using swords and stuff now because they're trying to get away from him using guns.
Star Wars Marvel Purist Punisher Netflix won't be surpassed by Disney. I don't see any way. They can say that there won't much won't change. It'll still have that tone. Yeah. Ray Stevenson, I did like his Punisher. He did it after Thomas Jane. I like the one with Thomas Jane because I like
the one with Thomas Jane.
He fought Kevin Nash.
That was a good scene.
That was a great fight. Go back and watch the Punisher, the first movie, and he fights Kevin Nash, who plays like a Russian.
Yep, the Russian. Yep.
Great fight scene.
Those movies got hammered when they came out too by critics back in the day, but I honestly didn't think they were that bad.
Yeah.
I actually like them.
Yeah, Reacher, I like. So let me address Special Ray. The new Snow White. First of all, I'm a guy. Sterling, last time I checked, you were a guy. I got 2 boys. I don't give 2 craps about Snow White. I don't care. When I saw the photo of the 7 San Francisco vagrants, um, it does. Here's what's crazy is 3 or 4 years ago, I would have thought you'd had to prove to me that was a joke. The picture was a joke.
Now I expect it.
Now it's like, who was shocked by that? It's
You
like,
just roll your eyes and you're like, oh, okay.
and so you got this story, Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs, and there are little people that are out there probably picketing and striking with the actors, and they won't work. So Peter Dinklage comes out and criticized it a couple years ago, right? And said that he didn't think he was offended by it. Okay, you don't have to play in it, but now they make a big stink about it.
And
And
his
now
best role was that of a
little person in Game
little
of Thrones.
person. And he'll never have a role like that again.
Snow
It's even
White,
close to that.
how about the 6 or 7 people that are of that stature who want that job? That's a paying gig. It's I don't understand it. I don't understand it, but it's gonna flop. They do something new, like when they did Moana, they did Encanto and Coco. Do new stories that way people can judge
And
it.
those aren't like
See,
some of those movies were good. What was the
Yeah.
one with the
Coco was great.
yeah, Coco. Coco was actually a good.
Coco
movie.
was great. My kids loved Coco. Now
Well-
they were kind of like they didn't understand the death part of it, but
like yeah, to me, if you're gonna do those stories about iconic characters, you should stay as authentic as possible.
Avenger, there are no dwarfs in that photo.
There's
And-
one, and he has one arm.
Yeah,
There's one
like
one-armed dwarf.
and then they said there was 2. It wasn't accurate. Well, they found out that there was a stand-in for the prince and a stand-in for Rachel Ziegler, the Snow White. The rest were cast.
But that's gonna. I mean, how much money are they gonna lose on Little Mermaid? It looks like maybe a couple $100 million.
Well, so I'm talking about other channels. There's another channel out there that talked about the mermaid is making a profit or slight profit,
It's not,
barely.
though.
No,
It's not.
no, it's not
It's-
lost as much as it looked like it was going to lose.
These are the same people so it costs $390 million to make.
So it was 200.
So if it makes $390 million,
plus-
they think they broke even. That's not how it works.
Well,
Movie
it made
theater doesn't
5.
well, the studio doesn't get 100% of the box office.
That's right. That's right.
So
So
they need to make
it had a
double
massive
that.
marketing campaign. It was 250 for production. So you're talking about, 370, 380.
I think they said 390.
Yeah. So
and it needs to make in the 700s to break even. So
yeah.
it's not breaking even.
Yeah. You
And
take.
it's done right about now at like what,
But
550?
There's people out there that there's articles being written just like they did about Indiana Jones 5. Look, I kind of sort of liked Indiana Jones 5. A lot of people didn't. I didn't think the movie was necessary, but I didn't dislike it. I didn't dislike Flash. I liked seeing Keaton as Batman, but
That was the only part that saved that movie, though.
it did. Michael Keaton. Otherwise, you have no movie. But at the end of the day, you look at the numbers and I don't understand why they use these multipliers to say, it wants a movie that costs 300 with marketing, $380 million total. And they said, once it gets to 550, it's 560. It's making a profit.
No.
I don't understand that math. But at the end of the day, they got to cut down the cost on these movies and they got to make better content. That's the answer. Make better content and don't spend $380 million to produce and market a movie. I remember when the first Matrix came out, you know what the marketing was for those that remember 1999? And I know I'm getting older by going back 24 years, but the main marketing for the Matrix was on the internet. There were websites that looked like they'd been hijacked, and it said, "What is the Matrix?"
Yeah.
Everywhere you looked, "What is the Matrix?" It was just a line. What is the Matrix?
Great movie too.
And people
The
were
first
like,
one.
What is the Matrix? I got to see the Matrix. I don't, Gatekeepers Damio, thanks for joining us. For those that remember, the marketing campaign for the Matrix was simple and effective. it's just like, didn't they have a movie? What was the movie Smile that came out, a horror movie a year ago, and they had people showing up at sporting events,
Yeah, that's smart.
smiling into the camera, but looking scary or creepy. Like, you got to get creative. Like, spending 140, $50 million on marketing, just it's stupid. You're setting your stuff up to fail, and doing these remakes or live action of animated classics, I think it's stupid. Walk in the room and make them. You're gonna do a remake. Here's something advice for
And
Disney.
you're destroying any of the core audience you had.
You want to
'cause
do a
you're slapping
remake?
them in the face.
Do a remake. Breezy's. What's up, Breezy's? You do a remake. Remake the Black Hole, but you don't have to spend $250 million on it. A lot of that movie takes place inside the ship, in space. Like, you could get creative. So like, they remake the stuff that you're like, what? Who made this choice? Like, it's I don't know. It's people that aren't creative in positions where it's it's the Disneyfying of everything.
I
And
remember Disney being a company like we don't talk about stocks or anything like that, but that was one of those companies that they say you could buy it and hold on to it forever,
yeah,
and it's worth less now than it was 5 years ago.
they probably said the same thing. I love a remake of the Black Hole. Black Hole, again, it doesn't hold up in terms of like visually how it looks today, but it could be great. You have the right filmmaker, bring someone in that knows what they're doing. Bring in Dennis from Dune. Let him do the Black Hole. There's directors that can do
It
it.
scares me whenever they talk about movie remakes, though.
It does.
Because then it says for modern audiences, instantly comes up after, and you know what that means.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
it's
yeah. So, blue chip stocks don't exist much. Well, look, I mean,
maybe Apple.
think about a long time ago. People were talking about companies, like the big three in Detroit and others that made a lot of money, but what stocks would you buy today? It's not my core, but I think you got to be well rounded. You got to you have to look at your age, and that tells you how much you
I
need to
would
risk.
I would short Disney stock right now because
Yeah,
I think they're
yeah.
going to keep losing money. If you see the interviews with Bob Iger, he has no idea what the problem is. There's no accountability, no acknowledgement. It's just, hey, we're making too much content. Yeah,
Well,
you're making too much bad content.
and look,
You don't know your demographics for any of your stuff.
You've got Warner's that's licensing out stuff, and they're unloading a catalog. I think we saw 500 million, and obviously we know Game of Thrones exists within HBO and Warner.
Disney can't do that.
And Disney is, it sure looks like that they're talking about selling ABC, selling FX, and selling Freeform. They're selling the different, what he calls the non-core units. You know why they can't sell Lucasfilm? Because it's not worth what they paid for it right now.
Right.
And he does not want to sell it and say, we sold it for $2 billion. Bob, you bought it for how much? He's not going to do that. So,
they made
really
some money off it for a while. But
gatekeepers really like Villanueva's take on Blade Runner. Wish he continue with it. I think he's a badass director. I think him and Chris Nolan are the best right now. I mean, there's always young directors that are coming up. I mean, I know not everybody may be a fan of James Gunn, but James Gunn got started doing like low budget stuff. Like,
I appreciate how passionate he is about the material that he's making, though.
Did you like Guardians 3?
I did. Okay. I didn't think it was. I thought it got better as it went on. I thought for the first like 45 minutes, I was like, this is kind of dumb. But as it went on, I started really enjoying it. But
Felicity, I wish they could show that they made their money back. I don't think they have.
They probably, I mean, that first movie, that made a ton of money. And then the second one,
how much profit you think the first movie made?
It was probably, it made $2 billion.
Okay, and they marketed the ever living you out of it, and
I mean, it probably made $1 billion, if not more. I mean, this is back in 2015.
Okay, so you got $3 billion more to go. They lost money on Solo,
right? Well, but then they've
lost money on Indy.
They made money on every movie in that trilogy, but just much less. They lost half their audience by the end of it. And what that trilogy did was it screwed the franchise going forward. Now no one cares about Star Wars.
Right.
So they made money off it because they had this
Alejandro
big
Inarritu
name.
number 2. Yeah. Alejandro is good too. I started out being a little bit of a fan of Paul Thomas Anderson. I feel like I'm kind of seeing the same thing from him. Like, I mean, he's got his niche, and it's interesting. But like, I kind of started to tune out on some of the most recent ones. But Alejandro is good.
What has he done?
Did Alejandro do Arrival? Well, let me know in the chat if he did Arrival. I think he did. Yeah, I don't think they've made their money back on the Star Wars purchase yet. I just don't. I don't.
I mean, there's a good chance they could have lost some now with their most recent projects. But I recall hearing like after the trilogy that they had made their money back. But that could be BS.
Yeah. Yeah. So it. Felicity Salty Inferno says there are reports that they spent $500 million or more on Rise of Palpatine. I buy it because the reshoots it went up like a month before they put the money out.
Yeah, I mean, that
I don't think they made any money on Rise of Skywalker. I don't
would have
think
about broke even.
Yeah, probably break even at best. They lost money on Solo. They've lost their butts on Indy 5.
They made some on Rogue One.
Rogue One, they made money.
Yeah,
Last
I mean,
Jedi,
they
made
might be
money.
In the red now.
They made money on Last Jedi. Not a ton, but they made some.
But now none of their movies even crack $1 billion. And those were movies like we talk about The Last Jedi. That was $1.4 billion.
So look at it. Let's talk about the movies real quick.
Look at the Disney remakes. Aladdin was $1 billion. Little Mermaid's like 500.
So between Rogue One and Last Jedi, let's say you made $500 million profit. $500 million profit between those two. And then let's say you made $1 billion profit on Force Awakens. So you're $1.5 billion profit. Let's say you didn't make any profit on Rise of Skywalker. You just broke even. Let's say you lost $200 million on Solo.
Right.
So you're down to $1.3 billion. You're going to lose $250 million on Indy 5, which I know it's not Star Wars, but it's Lucasfilm. So now you're down to $1.1 billion. So you paid $4 billion for Lucasfilm. So, start looking at they don't sell any toys anymore.
But losses like Andor, they just put that in Disney Plus, so you never know. And Disney Plus
I don't think they've made any money on any of the shows except for maybe a little bit of Mandalorian. But I mean, that's a different metric. But anyway, so I'll read a few of these
subscribers to Disney Plus.
The Revenant, money. Alejandro, they spent Andor. They spent a ton of money on Andor. We talked about that.
Oh.
Ton of money. They're spending you got to understand
didn't they put it on ABC?
Someone talked about She-Hulk the other day. I was like, they spent $250 million on She-Hulk.
Looked awful too.
You look at the per episode cost. Same thing with Andor. You're talking about spending money like a big movie budget on the series. And they're losing. That's why you see what they're streaming. They're losing over $1 billion a quarter on it. And he said the other day when he re-upped, Bob Iger said they're going to be profitable by late 24. He's pushing the can down the road. The Galaxy Star Cruiser debacle. Money loser. The toys are in bargain bins, barely anywhere. Absolutely. So, yeah, it's interesting to see what's going to happen moving forward, because I know people have talked about what'll change, predictions about Lucasfilm and all that. Look, when you're going through what Disney's going through right now, and and he says in interviews things that are even rattling the market's faith in Disney.
Yeah,
everything is on the table. When you're in a position where they are right now with the parks, and you're in a position where they are with the entities like Marvel and Lucasfilm and ESPN and Hulu and what they have to pay for Hulu, everything is on the table. Everything. That's business. If you're not doing your job, if you're a board of directors and you walk in there and you say, well, we don't want to discuss this. No, everything is on the table. So doesn't mean anything's going to happen, but they have to look at all their options. Avenger, thanks for joining us, but I know you're on UK time. I'm going to let you know if we get a chance to go over there before the end of the year. And I know there's some people that we know over there. So hopefully we get a chance to go over there while there's some filming going on. House of the Dragon won't be filming, but something else might. And so we're working on it. So Marvel, I'm kind of glad that there's after Secret Invasion. I don't know how many episodes are left, but their content and here's another thing too. And I know and we'll wrap up with Game of Thrones again. But one last thing on Lucasfilm and Star Wars is Bob Iger says that they're going to be making less. They're going to be making less content, right? There's going to be less Star Wars. We already know the Acolyte's filmed. It's coming out. It's in the can. We know that Andor season 2 is coming out. You know, they filmed a chunk of it, but it's coming out. We know Mandalorian season 4 is coming out. And what else do we have? Skeleton Crew. So we have 4 series that we know are coming out for Lucasfilm. 4 in the next year. And you want us to believe that the 3 movies are going to get made? And he says they're going to be doing less? I don't think any of the 3 are getting made right now. I think that they're backing up. And I don't see it. Maybe. So if you have to say one of the 3, James Mangold, that movie's not getting made. He's losing $250 million, whether they blame him or not. No way is he getting a Star Wars movie after Indy 5. I'd be shocked. That's not happening. And then you've got Mando, the Mando movie with Filoni, and you've got the Rey movie. I'm calling it. I think they make one movie, and I think it's the Mando movie. What do you think? Oh, I didn't even mention Ahsoka. Ahsoka's coming out. So they're going to release Ahsoka in a few weeks. Then we get Skeleton Crew. Then we get Acolyte. And then we get Andor season 2.
Yay.
And then Mando season 4. We got 5 things coming out. And he says they're scaling back. That means the movies, they're not going to do 3 movies. If they do one, which one is it? The Rey movie or the Mando movie?
God. I mean, you would think Kathleen Kennedy's pet projects would be in the dumps after Indiana Jones, but I don't know.
I mean,
I think the Rey movie, I almost hope they do release it, just because if that flops, then they can finally be like, okay, this is like your vision's not working.
And they hurt her as an actress. Like,
hey, I don't mind her as an actress.
No, you got you have to write a story.
It wasn't her fault. She didn't say anything. Like, she didn't rile up the people that were angry.
You know what Rey is? Daisy Ridley is an actress. She's not Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia. She may be a better actress overall in other projects, but she's not Princess Leia, and she's not Natalie Portman. She's not Padme. She's not. She's a supporting character. So it's fine if you want to bring in another lead female to play Mara Jade or play a new female character. But I think Daisy Ridley is a supporting character. When I went to see Force Awakens, I know she's in it a lot. I like John Boyega.
I didn't.
I like John Boyega better than her.
The only character I liked was Kylo Ren.
And Han Solo and Chewie.
And the old characters.
The old characters.
She's a gender swapped Luke.
And she's not Luke. She's not Luke.
She's a gender swapped Luke.
So I like
a terrible character.
I like seeing Chewie, R2.
The only new character I liked was Kylo Ren. That was it.
Yeah, I like seeing Kylo Ren, but like, she was a supporting character. So I'm not banking. If you walk me in and say your job's on the line, your career's on the line, I'm not rolling with Rey.
No.
But doesn't mean I don't roll with a female character, but I'm not rolling with Daisy Ridley as Rey. Maybe a supporting character, but not running the show. No way. So, and I think they screwed up by not bringing in Mara Jade. They're stupid. Mara Jade's a cool character in the expanded universe.
Yeah, but I mean, you would need to bring the other expanded characters.
Yeah, exactly. C-3PO pissed me off in the sequel trilogy. Anthony Daniels, I've been over him for a while.
What?
He's kind of a.
What did he do? I can't even remember.
C-3PO in the sequel trilogy?
Yeah.
Nothing. He walked out and stood between Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher in a good moment.
Oh, that's right.
For comedic relief. And then in the Rise of Palpatine, he gets his circuits rewired because he's got Sith code, can read the Sith. And then he starts having this emotional moment. He's a droid, and he's talking about his friends. The hell, he's a droid. He's wires. It's I don't know. It's drives me crazy. C-3PO. I'm not a fan of Anthony Daniels, but I'm a Kenny Baker R2 guy. But yeah, so I don't think they're going to make all these 3 movies. I wouldn't be shocked if they don't make any of them. I think, yeah, that whole my friend scene is horrible.
There's so much other wrong with the movie that I forgot about that.
Yeah,
like, there's so many other bad things.
I don't think they're making any of the 3 of them anytime soon. You know, and we'll see. Look,
But
we'll
what
see
can
about
what can they
Ahsoka.
do to fix it though?
Dave Filoni is put it on the line. We'll see with Ahsoka. I watched the trailer with Nikki and X-Wing and Nick and Echo Base and Rissman, and first time I saw it, and it's okay. Are you supposed to just think something's okay when you're like a Star Wars fan growing up and you see a trailer for the first time? How many times did you watch trailers for Star Wars and you're like, "Oh, that looks great," and get excited? I didn't feel. I was just like, "It's okay." The Purgles look okay. Thrawn's in okay, but I know they're not using Thrawn a lot, so like I don't trust them. I don't. They, I talked to 3 people in the last week, and I haven't mentioned this on any stream or any videos. I talked to 3 people that they don't even know I have a YouTube channel. 3 people that Star Wars came up the last few weeks because I hadn't talked to some of them in a while, and we had a conversation. And you and I have talked about this before, but 3 of them said, "I'm done. I'm not watching anymore." So, "Are you going to watch Ahsoka?" Nope. Didn't even watch season 3 of Mando. And I go, "What's your reason?" They said, "I was done after Kenobi."
That's exactly what I said.
All 3 people that were not in the same room with each other brought that up to me that they were Kenobi. I didn't think about this when I watched Kenobi. I didn't like Kenobi, but I didn't think it would be as damaging as it has been.
I did.
Yeah, you came in when we started our channel and said you were out of Star Wars after Kenobi.
He wanted to talk a lot about Star Wars. I was like, let's not.
So
let's
these 3 people, all 3 mentioned Kenobi, and I thought, okay,
it's awful.
Kenobi did more long-term damage than possibly Last Jedi.
It's nominated for a bunch of awards too. Like it was some great, cinematic pieces.
Salty Inferno. I never understood how they didn't know they had to get Kenobi right. They did. They did. And you bring Hayden Christensen back, and you don't give him the longer hair. With the arm, the prosthetic, you give him the short hair where he's older.
He's not even the main villain of the show. So
no, he's not the main villain. And then you have this
fight where it looks really nobody weird. Cares about.
I mean, there's so much wrong with it. I mean, like
I liked the last fight scene. I thought that was good. I enjoyed it.
Did you see where someone went online and changed the backdrop of it? And they did some editing.
They just did like some color grading.
They did the skies. It looks way better. But
they did some color grading. But I enjoyed the fight scene. But like I said, out of that, what was that? 6 episodes? Maybe I can't remember.
Yeah, maybe. I enjoyed the one scene where he's talking to the girl Leia about her mother and her father. I enjoyed the very end of the fight scene when he says he was sorry, Anakin.
I hated the Leia scene. That ruins the story.
But the rest of it I didn't like.
That ruins the story for me because she talks to him 10 years later and we act like she doesn't know who he is. They could have brought
Maul in. Maul's been screwed up since Phantom Menace. Like, I mean, except for, some of the animated stuff. But as far as they bring him in Solo with some actors that, aside from, I mean, I like Donald Glover, but and I love Emilia Clarke, but again, I don't know who Amelia's agent is, but since Game of Thrones, she's been
actually excited.
miscast.
But in that what was it? Solo when Ray Park had the cameo at the end, I was excited.
Yeah, because you were thinking it was going to lead to something,
and it led to nothing. It's just like Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian, it led to nothing.
Yeah, if they made this series about Maul and Obi-Wan, it would have blown up. I mean, would have been cool, but in the animated, Obi-Wan's older in Rebels when he runs into Maul. So I don't know. But, I mean, I know what you're saying. Maul is Crimson Dawn. I mean, why couldn't they have done Crimson Dawn around Obi-Wan? I don't understand the story. Why they chose to tell the story of like her and Leia doesn't know Obi-Wan. Like that, I don't. It messes up the original
that
movie.
ruins it right there. She goes on this
Years ago. You served my father in the Clone Wars. Like,
she goes on this big,
Horrible
life-changing
writing.
mission with
Horrible
him,
writing.
and 10 years later, she doesn't remember who he is.
Horrible writing. Horrible acting. The director, Deborah Chow, did a awful job. The filming, everything looked cheap. And I know that there's been some talk about they rushed it. They rushed the shooting. Well, that's their damn fault. It was awful, and it turned off a lot of fans. And you know it because Mandalorian did not open, even before all the episodes where people thought Mandalorian season 3 was bad. It opened with low numbers. So, I don't know, man. Like, I don't have a lot of faith for Star Wars, but you know what I do have faith on as we wrap up? We've been going almost 2 hours. I have faith in Game of Thrones, even though George is still not put the 6th book out. But Ewan McGregor, I'd love to see Ewan McGregor in House of the Dragon or Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Put Ewan McGregor in George R. R. Martin's world. I'm down for that. Give Ewan something good to do. I want to see the other series that come out from Max. I want to see the strike get over with so they can get to work on Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I'm excited. I don't know about you guys. If you can tell, House of the Dragon season 2. I'm excited to see more of the triarchy. I'm most excited to see, even though I think he's not going to be in a lot of, there's going to be a couple episodes where we don't see him much. But Deborah Chow directed Mando episodes. She's awful. Awful. I like Bryce Dallas Howard. I don't know what they gave her a horrible scenario with Lizzo and Jack Black. I don't blame her for that. It was already set up.
The best one was what's his name, Fukuwa, whatever his name. He did the best episodes last season.
Oh, you're talking about Rick Famuyiwa?
Yeah, he did the best.
He's the best of all the people they brought in. I do like Bryce Dallas Howard. They already wrote that story. They said you're directing it, Lizzo and Jack Black. She didn't even know.
Well, her episode.
The making of, she didn't know.
Your fault.
Jon Favreau told her. Deborah Chow's never downgraded fans, so I'll give her some slack. Yeah, I just don't like the way she filmed Kenobi. I hated it. Special Ray, they should have left Princess Leia out of Obi-Wan. The threat of Maul and his syndicate growing. Crimson Dawn. I mean, the Hutts. You've got bounty hunters. You got so much stuff, man. It's a big galaxy. You got so much stuff. At the end of Revenge of the Sith, Yoda's talking to Obi-Wan about training or being able to tap into the living force and speak to people beyond, like Qui-Gon. And then we see him here, and it's been 5, 6, 7 years, or whatever, Luke's a little boy, and Obi-Wan's not doing anything. Like, he's kind of like Luke. They just screwed it up. Like, go watch the end of Revenge of the Sith. That's where you know where to pick it up. I just don't get it. Don't get me started. But I do have faith in Game of Thrones. Do have faith in that world that George R. R. Martin's built. I think it's great. I think that Warner's is going to. We'll see what they do with Lord of the Rings. They're going to be doing movies. And I think what's slowed that down is they want Peter Jackson on board.
I hope they don't make the same mistake Amazon did, though. Wreck it.
Well, I mean, look, I mean,
I don't want a Lord of the Rings for a more modern audience.
If Peter Jackson is involved, then I'm down.
I don't want my fantasy to look like
Harry Potter,
modern day America.
You interested in seeing a Harry Potter series, each season being a book?
My wife is. I was never a huge Harry Potter fan. I'll have to watch it anyways, though.
No, but
I think it's cool that they tried to get. I think they tried to do.
See you, Sith Apple. Thanks for stopping by. We're about to wrap here in like 2 or 3 minutes.
They tried to do stories that took place
thanks for stopping by.
After the original movies, and I don't think any of the actors. Well, what was it? Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson didn't want to be involved I guess because of J.K. Rowling's viewpoints.
It's fine. Don't want to be involved. Don't be involved.
I just kind of like how they're like, okay, well, we'll just start over.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You don't want to be involved. We'll make other people stars.
Look, we know that Warner's that their DC Superman Legacy is relaunching. We know that they've got Harry Potter. We know they've got Game of Thrones. We know they've got Lord of the Rings, the movies.
Yeah.
You know, that's some pretty good IP.
It is. You just got to get it right, though.
Got to get it right. And right so far, like I like what I see so far from James Gunn. Yeah. I like what I see in the casting.
I like how he cares. Like he's passionate about source material and all that. So I'll give him that.
Yep. So those IPs, we'll see what happens. You know, we're doing Harry Potter. I would watch. Yeah, I'm fascinated to see what they do with it. When you do a series, you get to spend more time in the hall. You get to spend more time and throughout the different areas of Hogwarts. You get to spend more time in Diagon Alley. And
you get enough time to make it accurate to the books.
Yeah, just like Game of Thrones, you got characters. You can spend more time with supporting characters, you know, that have less screen time in the movies because you just can't do it, and you get to explore a little bit and develop, and there's texture to it. So, I'm fascinated to see it, and we're going to be here to cover all the House of the Dragon stuff. Can't wait for House of the Dragon season 2. Damio, I agree with you. You know, we're gonna be here to cover it, and we may be going to another con. Looking at different events that are going on. We've got Dragon Con coming up in Atlanta. I think it's the first week of September, like the last week of August, last day of August, first week, couple of days of September. We're going to be looking at maybe another con to attend together and maybe bring an additional person where we could do some better filming instead of just me on my phone. But yeah, like, you know, hope you guys enjoyed the stream tonight. For everybody that won something, ping me on Twitter. If you're not on Twitter, you can send a note to YouTube, my YouTube contact information, and I'll get your address and send it to you. We're going to be doing these streams. We're going to do one stream a week, and we're going to probably do have another 2 videos coming out in the next couple of days. We've had a lot going on. Where we live, there's been a ton of storms, power outages. I've been on the road. Sterling's been working too, and I just came back from the con, and then had a big birthday that was kind of in the middle of all that. So it's been a lot going on. Appreciate you guys sticking around. Hit subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and we'll continue to grow our channel and bring you content. And later, everybody.